Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. Another college football game. If you're going to watch this one, especially if you're on the West Coast, you're getting up early, or if it's Vegas, you're probably just rolling in from the Friday night. 4:30 in the morning, guys, for this one. We got Georgia Tech at Boston College in Dublin, Ireland. Brian, we'll start with you on this one. What are your thoughts on this one so early Saturday morning?
Yeah, so much is made of the time change and the travel. Keep in mind, Paul Johnson was the offensive coordinator at Hawaii for 8 years, so he's well aware of traveling because they usually travel 8 to 9 hours, and no matter where they go. And an interesting point with Georgia Tech, they rarely throw the football. That's a team that wants to run the football. Last year, they were sacked more often than their own team had sacks. They're going to have to pressure the quarterback a little bit more this year to have success.
Ralph, I want to ask you, one of my things, and we've talked about it many times last year on videos and such, when you have a team like Georgia Tech that runs the option, when teams don't face that, that's a problem for them during the season when you only have a week to prepare for it. Now Boston College, even though they're in conference play, they haven't played them for a while. This is a situation where they've got the whole summer, spring to prepare for that first game of the season, spring ball. They're focused. They're going to be ready for the option, but can they stop it?
I'll tell you what, Boston College was the #1 defense in the country last year, played incredible. They have the entire offseason to prep it. Another great point for them. The only negative is they lost their DC. Don Brown, now the Michigan DC, and Jim Reed is their new DC. Jim Reed was the head coach of VMI, played the option against a lot of those SoCon teams, but the last 3 years he was the linebacker coach at Iowa, having not seen the option in any of those 3 years. So that part does concern me quite a bit. You have a new coach, you have a new coaching staff. While the talent is there, that these kids played incredibly well, I'm interested to see how they'll handle it. Also, Georgia Tech knows that team prepared for them. So I think you're going to see a few wrinkles this time. This is a conference opponent they haven't played the last 3 years. But one thing Georgia Tech and Boston College both have to worry about, rain. 80% chance of heavy rain. They're expecting a half of inch of rain during the game. That always causes havoc when you're pitching that ball around for the option.
Absolutely. Now, we all know how good that Boston College defense was last year. If you stop and think, though, how bad the Boston College offense was, it makes that defense even better than it was, because the defense never was helped out by the offense. The offense would be threes and out, or punt the ball and the other team's getting good field position because you didn't move the ball, you didn't sustain a drive, and put that defense, a lot of teams, especially a team that wasn't winning like Boston College, the defense would quit, because they get tired of carrying the offense. They didn't do that. Boston College did get a transfer at quarterback from Kentucky, Patrick Tiles, or not sure if I'm saying his name right, 5,000 yards passing for him in 3 seasons at Kentucky. Do you think that they can open this offense up?
Well, it will open the offense up only because last year they had 4 quarterbacks, and I believe 2 of them were walk-ons. So I wasn't impressed by Tiles at Kentucky. I didn't think he was anything special. But something that's mediocre is much better than what Boston College has had in the past. And they've actually got 2 quarterbacks this year that are better than what they had last year. So they will look to move the ball downfield a little bit more through the passing game. And the coach has said he likes the receivers on this team, so they're trying to stretch out the field a little bit more this year.
You're talking about 4 quarterbacks, and what a weird situation. You return 4 quarterbacks that made starts for you, and none of them are your starting quarterback going into the year.
Yeah, that tells you why you had 4 quarterbacks last year. What's the old saying? If you got 2, you don't have any. Well, if you got 4, you're in real trouble. Guys, the line sitting here at Georgia Tech 3 and a total of 43.5. Any thoughts on side or total if you had to play it?
My power rating was Georgia Tech 2. Even though the number doesn't say it, I think that's probably the right side. But as you mentioned, the weather, it takes a lot to bet a game when the weather is in that situation. You run the football, which would take time off the clock, and Boston College defense is so good. But when you're pitching the ball, you could have some turnovers. I'm just going to lay low and pass this game completely.
BC's 7 straight-up losses on the road 7 straight-up losses on the road the last 2 years combined. Only won by over 3 points, and that was at number 5 Clemson. They played Penn State in the bowl. They played Notre Dame neutral. They've played very well on the road or at neutral settings. I think they can keep it close.
All right, I got Boston College winning this one by 4. I like that defense, and I think they're going to get enough out of the offense. And I'm going to go with the old adage: if you have the extra time to prepare. But the one point you brought up, Georgia Tech, with all the extra time to prepare, they're going to have a couple wrinkles too. They could hit a couple big plays off of the option, fake the option and go deep, which that is something to consider when looking at the low total. Be careful with that. All right, guys, don't forget, save $10 this weekend at WagerTalk. Just use coupon code RELF and the number 10. You'll get $10 off. Use that on the weekend all access each and every week. $69. You can get Thursday through Monday. All plays from your favorite capper. That's both baseball and football. Anything they release, you get in the weekend all access. It's the best deal on the web. Check it out, wagertalk.com. We'll be back with more.